In Britain now, it's the Russell Brand allegations. Brand is, of course, the loudmouth comic and actor and now social media star. 11 million followers on Twitter. That's pretty good going. Who was on the left, now preaches conspiracy theories that are all over the ideological shop. You know, vaccines are bad, Ukraine's bad. Now is accused in the Sunday Times in London of rape and sexual assault by 4 women. One was just 16 at the time. She says that the 30-year-old Brand groomed her.
Russell engaged in the behaviours of a groomer. He would try to drive a wedge between me and my parents, taught me to lie to them.
Russell Brand denies it all.
I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play?
Now, he reckons by another agenda, it's another conspiracy, this time by the media to silence this brave truth-teller.
You guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist. Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know. It feels to me like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices.
Joining me from London is broadcaster and writer Esther Krakue, who no one can silence. Esther, none of these women went to the police, so now Brand is being tried in the media. Now, is this fair?
Of course not, but that's why we have a judicial system and we don't try people by the court of, via the court of public opinion. At the end of the day, this has just boiled down to a very kind of publicised case of he said, she said. Obviously, the allegations that these women are levelling at Russell Brand, these happened over a decade ago. So even if we take their story at face value, you know, we can understand that there will be the issues of distorted memory. Obviously, he's denying it all, so it's really going to be difficult to tell the truth. But I'm questioning overall what they're trying to gain from having spoken to journalists instead of going to the police. Because at the end of the day, the public is powerless to actually do anything. We can't, you know, have Russell Brand hung, drawn, and quartered, right? We can't take any action against him. You know, if you were really interested in justice, you would go to the police. So I'm very skeptical about all of that. Russell Brand has admitted to being promiscuous, and obviously when you've slept with thousands of women, you will be able to find a handful of women that have not had a positive experience with him, that may have felt disrespected at the time or had a very negative experience with Russell Brand. I don't know if that's what we're seeing here. I don't know whether the allegations are true or not. That's not our call as the members of the public. That's the call for the police and the judicial system. But I find it very distasteful that this is how things have transpired. I'm not sure if I buy that, you know, this is just a conspiracy against Russell Brand because he's some sort of intellectual luminary that's exposing the media, the corrupt media. But it does raise really valid questions like, okay, if you can undertake this investigation and find these women that are willing to testify against someone like Russell Brand, why can't you find Jeffrey Epstein's client list or find more victims so that they can come out and you know, talk about the people that Jeffrey Epstein pimped them to? I mean, it does draw into question how they have these resources to be able to do something like this against Russell Brand, but not Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I think you make a really good point there. I don't believe, well, you know, they may have felt more wanting to get him now than they did when he was on the left, very clearly on the left. But, you know, on the conspiracy thing, I agree with you. I don't buy the conspiracy argument really, but you have got messages of support for Russell Brand on that point by Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, and fired Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who did indeed tweet, you know, criticise the drug companies, question the war in Ukraine. You can be pretty sure this is going to happen. I don't know. Who do you think actually buys these arguments that Russell is simply a victim of, you know, corporate media looking after their own?
I don't think very many people buy it. Once again, with these sorts of kind of fiascos, we often miss a good teaching moment or a good sort of teaching moment in the sense that if you are a man in the public eye or just a man in general, sexual discipline is very important, because if you make a habit of, you know, being intimate with many women, at some point there is a high likelihood that something negative will happen or something could bite you in the bum. I don't agree with obviously this trial by social media, and I think there are very serious repercussions of people taking allegations at face value. I mean, we had the issue with the JLS singer who was accused, who basically lost virtually all his sponsorships and his ability to fend for his family. And the jury acquitted him in less than 15 minutes of all the charges, right? So that just goes to show, really, we should be looking at legal avenues to resolve these issues as opposed to members of the public. And I think Russell Brand embodies that, even though I don't buy the argument that this is a giant conspiracy against him and his, intellectually visionary views on things.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I'm not a fan of him, but I do think this is not the process. Another man in strife is Jann Wenner. He's the legendary co-founder of the Rolling Stone magazine. He's being attacked, removed from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame jury for not including black and female stars in his new book, The Masters, which has got interviews with Bob Dylan and Mick Jagger and John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, etc., and Bono. Don't know why Bono's there. All white and male. Now, Wenner says it's not like... it's not that yeah, well, sorry about that. You're probably a fan. He says the female stars are inarticulate, so go deeper, have a conversation with Grace Slick or Janis Joplin, please be my guest. Joni Mitchell, not its philosopher, didn't meet his test. And of black artists, Stevie Wonder, a genius, but Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, he says they didn't articulate at that level. He's being accused of racism and sexism. Does he deserve the punishment he's getting?
Of course not, but he's now been convicted of committing a thought crime. Look, at the end of the day, he didn't deny people like Marvin Gaye are one of the greats, but he just said, for the publication that he was creating, they were not articulate enough to be featured in there. That's his opinion. We're still allowed to have opinions about things, and we shouldn't be punished for them. At the end of the day, he's worked in the industry for many decades. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he was looking for. I don't really see why he's being demonized for having an opinion on this. He didn't insult them. He didn't say that, they were bad at their crafts. He just said they're inarticulate. And me and you happen to work in the media, and we know how important it is to be able to communicate properly and to be articulate. So in one sense, I understand what he's saying. But ultimately, that is his opinion. We can go back and forth about whether he thinks this person is great or this person is great or that person is great, but we're not going to get very far. It's about just living and let live and letting people have their opinions and not demonizing them for it.
Yeah, and I think in the Rolling Stone list of the top classic tracks, black and female stars make up, I think, 3 of the top 5. So there you go. Esther Krakue, always great to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time.